just said it for me. Nothing like a smile, you know what I'm saying? Who's ready for some boom, baby, boom? Right. Ah, and shine. It's a great day to be alive. I can't tell you the smell. I can't tell you the feeling, the sensation. We're all so different, you know, being able to go out into the sunshine, rise and shine, feel alive, feel myself. After such a weird day yesterday, it feels good to be back in the game and feeling differently than I did yesterday, because yesterday was such a weird day. I had to share my racism from yesterday and do all the things that make me feel a-okay instead of judged or misunderstood. So here's what happened. Sitting here chilling in the park, much like this with friends, talking with some Somalians, and it was weird because it was like reverse racism started happening at first. He thought I was Iraqi, and only because I got a beard. And I told him, "You're so ignorant, bro. You can't understand what an American looks like." And he said, "My friend, because he was white, sitting next to me, looked more American than I did." And I said, "This is where you're confused. He obviously looks Finnish." We had this conversation yesterday that people from Finland, we can spot them in Thailand and Greece and Spain where they go frequently visit. And I can see in a crowd what Finnish people look like, right? Well, he was like, "Well, you look Iraqi," which I was like, first of all, what about my American accent did you not miss? Second of all, no, America's not 500 years old. It's only about 250 years old, right? And if you had done your homework, right, you would know that it's a big melting pot of all the people, right? 350 million people, and people like to stop me and ask me Trump questions, or want to talk politics, or want to be rude and racist. And the guy, this old man, stood there while we were all talking on the edge, being weird, just hanging out. Then he got between us, got really close to me, and started to tell me to get out of his country, go home, you know, screaming things in Finnish, shaking because he was drinking. And everybody's like, "Dude, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, get out of here. Leave us alone. Nobody likes you." He's like, "You've been talking about me." I'm like, "I don't even fucking know you, old man." He's like, "What are you going to do about it?" "I will not move." And I was like, "Well, I'm not going to let you just stand here and aggravate me and accost me and try to cause some kind of commotion. I'm going to fucking regulate, homie. I'm not the one." And he was like, "Okay." Well, I got all these people started coming around and be like, "Why is there yelling all of a sudden in such a quiet park? You're scaring the children, old man. Go away." "Yeah, bro, go away. Get away from me with your weirdo." This looks cool, like this entrance with all the brushing through the thing. I thought it looked really kind of cool. Shoo. And go away, bro. Like, I don't even know you, bro. And you're over here thinking I'm talking about you when we were all having a conversation without you. And now you're bringing yourself into our conversation and literally in the middle of it, right? Trying to be rude and attitude and all these other things. And I was like, today's going to be weird. I told my friend Tuomo, and I said, "You know, I think we're going to end up in a fight tonight." You know, like, I can just feel it. Like, when this weird energy happens, usually there's a fight that happens. And here's what happens, right? So the guy finally steps away from my bike enough for me to grab my bike and just leave and say goodbye to the boys, but ignore him and move away from it. And I told my friend, "You know, this ain't my first time having racism, you know, in America or even in Finland, or people misgauging who I am because I have a beard. You know, when I'm in Turkey, they think I'm Turkish. When I'm in Mexico, they think I'm Mexican. When I'm in Brazil, they think I'm Brazilian. When I'm in Hawaii, they think I'm Hawaiian," right? And to be misidentified or misappropriated or whatever else you want to say, misgentrified, I can't really do that, but like, they know my gender, but like, you know, my race is a mix. I'm a Creole man. I'm mixed with mostly French German from my dad, and mostly French black from my mom. And it makes me a weird mix to see people that are, different, and it's hard for people to place me in a category. And even as I was a kid growing up, said white or black, and I'd have to check both boxes, or Caucasian or African American or whatever else, or other is always an option, because it's hard to be placed. They want to say that I'm a black man going to college, because that helps their statistics, or, to categorize someone. Where are you from? That's what people always ask me. Where are you from? Why are you here? And what's your race and ethnicity? It's a lot of private questions to try to figure someone out. They can't figure me out. They're like, what are you, And it turns out I'm a mix. How about that? Like everyone else on this planet. They're actually, I think 2004 was the last of the Eskimos fucking each other, and only purebred 100% of anything. When we're doing DNA swabs, we're saying we're a bunch of everything. And I'm talking to the Somalian guys, and I'm like, well, you could be anything, right? Like, dude, you could be from Algeria. No, man, no, you don't understand. Libya. Oh, so when I misidentify your race and country, you get offended. But when you, misidentify me, you're wondering why I'm offended. Oh, I didn't mean to offend. Yeah, you did, bro. Like nothing says I'm Iraqi. Even your friend sitting next to you is like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? And he was so confused by my race or where I was from or what I was doing here. And people try to place things, because anything that's different, we rip the wings off the phoenix and we turn it to stone, right? Anything that's different, we're scared of. And if we can't identify it, we were talking about pre-prejudice, right? Like when you're walking, like just now, I walked down the street and I just saw a lady. Immediately I saw her. I knew she was a woman, like this dude right now. I could see he's a dude. I see he's got his bag in his hand, and he's not a threat to me, right? Are you a threat to me? No, you're just staring at me. Okay, cool. And that's what most people do. Like, why is there a dark person around my car? Why do you have darker skin? And I said, bro, you could be from Sudan. You could be Ethiopian to me. Well, Ethiopian's close to Somalia, so it wasn't a far stretch. But I was just saying that this was, the type of mentality where we got to see what kind of car do you drive. I was telling my friend in LA, there'll be girls that'll be like, let me see the keys in your pocket, Is that a Beamer? Is that a Mercedes Benz? Then I can't talk to you, and just walk away and be that rude, like you're wasting my time if you don't have any money. And these are pre-prejudices, You can be prejudiced to people about their skin color. You can be prejudiced to people from where they're from. And you can be prejudiced to people on how much money they make. It was a whole, wow, this is really happening, and what a weird day. So we leave, and we're like, hey, we need to go get some weed. Let's go down the street, go to the homies. And turns out that on the homies, I think there's a little path over here I'm going to take. Yeah, I think the river is this way. I'm going to go smoke by this bridge. And when we go out, all of a sudden there's a dude on the ground, like literally in public, right in the train station. And it turned out that he had overdosed from something. Now, we thought he was just drunk and they couldn't get a hold of him. So we think that he shot up in his arm some heroin or something in the bathroom, made it 10 meters and just fell down. Crumple juice was in a pile, right? So everybody's like, what the fuck's going on right now? And I'm like, I have no idea. We're like wondering what's going on. My buddy goes, what's going on? They're like, hey, get the fuck out of here. Put his hand up and like, go get the fuck on. So we're like, yeah, we'll go the fuck on. I'm like, so weird. It's not normal that you see a human being on the ground, on the streets, collapse, like boom, 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 boom. Like I call it the Transformers, because they kind of shrink down on themselves. And then, they act weird. And it's just, it was hard to see. It was hard to watch somebody be on the ground and being that weird. So I didn't think nothing of it. We go get some weed. I'm in a new part of the city, Aluncula, and smoking, and then I hear dum 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 dum. I'm like, that's concussions from a fireworks. That's like cannon concussion, like boom 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 boom. And my buddy's like, fireworks? Why would it be fireworks? I'm like, I told you it was a weird day. Told you, and it wasn't done yet. When we come back from the train, these guys were being really drunk, like Vitu, screaming at each other, fuck. And all of a sudden, everybody got real quiet, because these two dudes come up, the security dudes, or at least I thought they were security dudes. They're just enforcers. They're just checking people to see if they have a ticket. They kicked me off the train. Hey, you got no ticket? Get off next stop. Okay, I'm off next stop. Get back on to the next train. That's when the drunk guys were there screaming with open cans, and the only thing they did was come around and say, give us your cans, like that. And I was just like, what? That's it? You know what I mean? Like, that was so fucking intense. So it was such an intense energy day to go from the Saturday spending time in front of 100,000 people, beautiful women and everywhere, great music. I always say good music, good weed, good sex, good food, and good friends, and there won't be any wars. It was pretty much that whole combination, and that's what it was. We're here. I love this place. It's just a nice little bridge. I'm gonna get on here and smoke my stick. But you know, it's everything. It's all of us looking at each other through different eyes. Oh, he's got his shirt off. Oh, she's got 2 dogs. I wonder if they work out. I wonder if they have love. I wonder if they have fear. I wonder if they have open minds. And this is what you can't describe. When you look at people, you can never see if they are really that way, or are they the way that they say that they are, or the actions that they show that they are. Like these people showing a lot of love to their dogs on shirts, left, right, and straight. They're putting so much energy into these beings that you would think that they're lovely to them. But I've even seen people that are really disciplined with their dogs and screaming at them and choking them with the collar and being rude, right? Like that shit happens too. Just because they have a dog doesn't mean they're not abusive, right? Just because they have, there's another area over there. I'm gonna get on this bridge and smoke my morning motivation. But yeah, it was such a weird day yesterday to go chilling in the park, minding my own business, having a conversation, and somebody standing in the middle of the conversation and started interrupting, yelling, and causing trouble. It was all bad. And what I watched was the Ethiopian, Sudanese, Somalians. I'll confuse his country and ethnicity real quick. And all of a sudden this dude, go ahead. You know, all of a sudden this dude's being super rude. I guess I can go down there and smoke too. This one has shade down here. Yeah, maybe I'll go down there. I want the shade of it. But, you know, people misinterpret people all the time. They look at each other and they think that they know what they're saying, but what they're really saying is my emotions come out this way. I am weird this way, and this is the reason I'm acting this way. I might not smile at somebody. I might feel overweight. So my own insecurities become a decision not to smile or be the best version of me. And that's what it was happening, was watching some of the ugliest of human beings. I went from watching the best of human beings, celebrating their lives, being outside, you know, doing all those things, to, you know, there's one way left. I'm gonna sit on that bench. Straight over here or straight over here. I think we'll just go over this way. You know what I mean? So it was just weird to see human beings dancing and music and beautiful and dressed up and DJs and all those things, right? And then all of a sudden, it was racism and overdosing and fighting the next day. And it was just like, wow, it comes in threes is what I was telling my homie. You know what I mean? It always does. It comes in threes. And you never know what the person's issue is or what's their disease. I told the dude, do you hate your life or something? Do you not have a wife or kids or anything? Are you like some lonely old drunk dude that's just angry at life, so you're gonna come in the middle of people's conversations and start shit and become the pariah of the park? Apparently that's what was happening, and it was just very interesting to not take that on and tell my friend stories about every time that I was in like Sam's Club when me and my sister were like 12, 13. I'm 13. I'm the oldest, so maybe 14, 13. And she had a big starter jacket, and the guys wouldn't let her, or were following us. I didn't notice in Sam's Club, like we were stealing something. By the time we came to checkout, like 9 people had converged on us and tried to search us about things we didn't steal, and try to like apologize their way out of the misinterpretation or the prejudice that they put upon us. And I said, my friend would never know what it was like to have brown skin or a big beard and have people say things like Saddam Hussein to them, or think that they are Muslim or a Unabomber because I have a beard. Like, this just grew on my face, and apparently it makes me public enemy number 1, because people are so afraid that anybody with a beard on a plane is going to create a bomb or create an issue or cause some trouble. It was all bad, bro. Let's bless up and get away from those kind of emotions. It was just weird days. And that's what I'm saying. It goes from full days, going outside, dancing like nobody's watching, chilling, watching people dance, you know, great music, festivities, festival, outside block party, to people passed out literally on the ground, bro. Like, overdosing right in front of us, and then almost fist fighting on the train, and then being a full-on racist to my face, like literally this close. Like, this dude was this close. I had my bag here and my bike here, and he was standing right here. Like, he could almost touch me, and I could put my hand out, and they're like, don't touch him. I'm like, no, he's trying to touch me. He's pointing his finger at my face, trying to touch me. I just don't want him that close to me. Like, I kept putting my hand out, like, get the fuck away from me. You can watch the live. I put it on the shorts. It was just a quick 3-minute video, but you missed the thing where he's wagging his hand in front of me, telling me to get out of his country. And I will not go, and being too close and invasive to my personal space. I'm not in the habit of beating up old men, so I didn't really do that much about it but walk away. And that's what it's going to have to take sometimes. You're going to have to get away from people that misidentify you, you know? Like, this dude just walked by and he looks like a woman, but I can tell he's a dude. Maybe you're a tranny. Maybe you're a transsexual. Maybe you like women making women's clothes. You don't want to be identified. You want your pronouns to be correct. And I'm in a country where there are no pronouns. They don't say his and hers in Finland. I think they call it mina, like you. But like, there is no his or hers. So they get confused with our rhetoric or our pronouns to identify someone. And that's what we're doing. It's like when you're in the world and you're trying to identify someone, probably the worst thing you could do is have a conversation about politics. You don't want to bring up politics, you don't want to bring up religion, and you don't want to bring about money. How much money you make? What do you do for a living? Oh yeah? Where are you from and why are you here? And are you a cop? You know, like, I don't talk to people that way. And my friends are like, you're such an asshole, and tell people where you're from. I'm from my mother, from this planet Earth, and I'm human like you, is what I tell people. And they need to know that, because when you're saying where you're from, you're missing it, dude. It could be an army brat that was in Germany, but I was born in Istanbul because my dad was I'm an army brat, and my dad was in the Navy, and who knows, dude? Everybody's story is so fucking different. Even the Somalian dude was like, I was born in Denmark, and we're like, what? So his mom immigrated when she was like 19, 20, he said, and now he's got raised up, but he's still Somalian. He still looks Somalian, but maybe he looks Ethiopian. Maybe he looks Moroccan. No, man, that can't be a Moroccan. And he got offended. And I said, see, that's what I'm saying. When you do that to me, and you're guessing Iraqi because there's such a big Iraq population in Finland, all these war-torn areas, that's what I was in the middle of saying before the old man interrupted, was like, you guys are all war-torn. When we say that in America, means after you were torn from war, people were torn away from their countries. In Somalia, Croatia, Herzegovina, that was a conflict, and Iraq had a conflict, and Iran, and all these people leave these scary countries and come to a safe place like Finland so that they can be free. And that's what it was just interpreting people and interpreting things. And you want to be somebody that sees human beings. Talk to hot women like they're a human being. They're not an alien. They're not a fucking supermodel. They're just human beings like us. I saw them all walk past mirrors and fix their hair and feel self-conscious and adjust their ego and their outfit. We all do the same shit. Breathe. Yeah. Fuck, hopefully. Shit every day. You're human like me. I have to take shits in the morning. Hopefully too. I like to go for my smokes. Hopefully you know, everybody is the same. You know, we all have emotions and blame and these things inside of our brain that teach us to be different than we are. You know, it was just such a trip to say that, you know, we do things against our best interest, right? You know, we do things to ourselves, and then we bring that to the outside world and say, okay, do you interpret it the same? Do you also see racism? And that's what me and my friend were talking about. Like, people that can't rapidly identify something will look for anything to categorize. We're categorical creatures where we want to put things in a box. Like, what's your race? What's your income? And what's your mother's maiden name? You know what I mean? It's some personal information that you just levels deep, bro. You know, you're just getting subsurface. You're not even getting below the dermis of our skin. This is just skin level. You're not seeing the racism of subtle racism where people maybe don't want other people in the country, and they have a bleed over too. I was listening to my friend in England, and they're having riots. They like us in America. They're going around talking about immigrants. They don't have ICE, but they have riots, and now they have people going around the hotels where all these immigrants are staying, talking about that's taxpayer dollars, and putting up a fight about it in the streets. There's some rough shit going on, and I was like, that's mimicking America, where we got ICE blasting up people, riots in LA. And people don't want people to stay, they want to look for someone to blame. This is the first time. I had to explain to that Ethiopian, Sudanese, Somalian guy that this isn't the first time. Do you not even know what America is? And in his mind, he thought it was a bunch of white people like my friend from Finland, and said, you missed it, bro. Do you not know your history? I was like, 500 years. I was like, no, America's only 250 years old, and we're this weird experiment. We're in the new world. Everybody was there. I'm Creole, so that means French people came into the delta of the Mississippi. I had to do this for a half hour. This is why I don't tell people my ethnicity. And then I said, you forgot the Native Americans. You forgot the Spaniards conquistadors took on the West Coast. You forgot all the German people, the Irish people, and who else was there? Italians. All these people were mass exodus. Their European country came over to our country and made new roots. They consider themselves American. This has been, I'm the sixth, so there's been 6 generations at least of my family born in New Orleans. My mom born in New Orleans. My grandma born in New Orleans. Her mom was born in New Orleans. Like, I'm from New Orleans, and they couldn't believe that somebody with skin color wasn't from Mexico, Turkey, Hawaii, Brazil, or whatever else, Iraq apparently, or whatever else they confuse a bearded man to be. So, weird days. Full day, weird day. And it was just amazing to me that I could see people you have pre-prejudice. Is this person safe or not? Is it a man or a woman? Adult or child? We identify really quickly. But the other prejudice is to judge somebody and try to quantify them or to categorize them into something that we can understand. And that's just subsurface. If you have money, does that define you? If you don't have money, does that define you? If you live in this country but you're from somewhere else, does that make you not from here? And aren't we all from the same planet? Aren't we all from our mothers? It was a trip, bro. A bull trip. So I digress and let go of that trip. I just said, you know what? That's not me, man. It's been my whole life of being misunderstood, federally arrested off of a plane from Peru, coming into my country that's supposed to be landed the free, and they're arresting me. That was fun. Or how about being harassed in my shop by the police, the same ones that arrested me 2 years previously, and I was in the court 2 days before. Same guys harassing me in my own shop, pushing me up against the wall like I stole something. Told my mom to sit down and shut up like she was a dog. She walked in the middle of them trying to bust up on me like, what are you doing to my son? And that's when she wrote the "not my son" to Nancy Goodman, because there is harassment. The cops will come and try to pull their guns on me and tell me to get my hands out of my pockets real quick and put my hands on the hood, even though I just got kicked out of my apartment. I go, my stuff's in there. They knock on the door. That's all we can do. It's a civil matter. Got in their SUV cars and just took off. Now, mind you, I was almost arrested. They said I had a warrant out in Henderson, but it was old for traffic, so they even let that go. And the next day I flew out of my country and I stayed here in Finland. Well, for the most part, I feel safe. And that was what's weird about the day, was I was just talking to the guys, and I was like, I left my stuff on the bench so I could go for a smoke. Like, I left my stuff here, and I walked over there to smoke so I wouldn't smoke around the kids. And they were like, you're just going to leave your bike like this? And I was like, yeah. I feel safe here. I could leave my stuff in Thailand. No problem. I've left all my bags at the front of hotels to see if I can get them. Nobody was going to come steal my shit. Well, we're in Jericoacoara in Brazil. The mobs control it. So I don't have to worry about my phone getting stealed, But if I'm in Peru and I'm driving around, the taxi drivers tell me to get off my phone because people will break a window, reach in and steal a phone. So it's all these things that end up taking place. It's all these things that we don't get to see when we look at people. We see if they see us or if they see prejudice. And that's what was really interesting to me, that I was like so shocked to see people are still on an undertow of this is our we grew here, you flew here mentality. And I got that in Hawaii, which are some of the most racist people I've ever seen, only because they are landlocked. They're Polynesian. That all they got is just little Hawaii, and everyone else is from Japan or Russia or somewhere else. And they were just like, no fucking way. And I'm like, yeah, bro, this is fucking crazy, dude. Like, to see people still be unhuman to humans, and to still see prejudice instead of seeing people being, and to see an actual being in a human. How about that? To see them just being human. That's all I did. I sat here on a bench and just watched this whole park full of people dancing, and just watching them adjust their outfits or talk with their friends or laugh or dance their ass off or dance like nobody was watching. It was the whole thing. So I had extremely blessed weekend, and then it got weird at the end. Everything sometimes gets weird. We can, I like weirdos. I like being weird. I like being different. I like not being able to be categorized and told what I am. I get to identify, or I identify as human being. You know what I mean? Him, her, whatever. I'm saying that I'm human, and that's the experience that I was having. I was having a human experience being outside. I love my life. Loving my life, just enjoying the last of the summer and enjoying the beautiful weather, instead of people being weird and just misidentifying me and try to categorize me when I'm a mixed human being. I didn't see differently. I saw my dad and I saw my mom. I didn't see white face, black face, dude. And I wasn't raised to be that way. I wasn't there to identify my dark cousins as the black cousins. No, they were my cousins, and the white cousins were still my cousins. And even if they were to make some kind of racial joke around me because they thought I was white, and they could make a joke about black people, and I felt like they were talking about my family, or that my old best friend would use the N word blatantly and be proud of it, and that's why I stopped talking to her, or that I had another friend, I remember Bryce, and we would hang out all the time. And then one day we were watching the fights. It was Nurmagomedov versus um, Conor McGregor, and it was such a highly racial tone that he was like, did he say sand N-word or towel head? Yeah, get that towel head. And I just looked over him like, relax, it's just a fight. But for him, he was starting to say racial slurs. He had things against Jewish people, Middle Eastern people, and like the Jagdish Mehta, our investment teacher when we were in college, same teacher, and he had a problem with him. Like he had something against me. My parents didn't help me through college, and my professor was against me because of my skin tone, and all these things were going weird or going wrong. And I was just like, man, you can't miss that you're not living in the now, that you're not living on this planet with the rest of us that have to breathe and exercise and love and try to procreate and try to get resources and try to get ahead. We're all on this planet together, brother. Not one of us gets to define ourselves and by a category or a box and say that that's all that I am. You're more than a box. You're more than a check mark. You're more than a line on a form. We're human beings, and whether we like to admit it or not, all these little lines that we draw in the sand and all these little things where we snap and say that's our country, we're making trenches against the Russians and all these other things, it's a real thing. You know what I mean? Those things are really happening, and I had to have a real experience yesterday to see what the best and the worst of human beings over this weekend. And this is my Monday morning morning motivation, and I hope you got something out of this. If you did, go ahead, like and share and subscribe below. Don't forget, peace and love. And as always, Chigathon. That means goodbye, but not forever in Finnish. And I will see you on the other side as soon as you like, share, and subscribe. The other side of your fear, the other side of your excuses, and the other side of the world, because that's where I be. Peace. That's blessed.